Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Marcus from TCG Sessions coming at you with a Brawly versus Brawly replay. I was playing ranked and I thought this game was pretty good, so I wanted to upload it for you guys. We're still doing the camera recording, the laptop screen thing, so bear with me with that. Although the game's running incredibly smooth the day after the update, so I don't know. Maybe it was just they updated the network for my poor little laptop, but this is a pretty good game. So let's just get it started. So playing right away. This is a terrible first hand. We want to mulligan this. Not a good ramp curve. And this hand's perfect. We have 4, we have 5, we have 3, we have all the ramp curve in the world, and we have 2 cantrips. You can't ask for anything better. Now our opponent here, they got second, so they're going to get to draw a card and have the energy marker. But I'm going to be honest, I'm actually kind of liking going first as long as I get a cantrip in this matchup. Because this destructive strength ramp curve, being able to go from 3 to 4 on the ramp, then to 5, followed by that 5 ramping me to 6, putting me at 7, puts me on line for the SCR, which feels really nice. And if I get Awaken before then, by the time the SCR's inbound, that means I'm going to be available for 8. Now, again, in this matchup, we want to play more conservatively. So when it comes to like our whether or not we want to take life, we don't. These cantrips act as a barrier, and if I have more life than my opponent, by the time we start dropping 8 drops and big bombs, they will lose the game. You'll see exactly that exact philosophy play out here. I think it's how you should play every matchup of green versus green. And against like Gohan, we're just better because we're now 25k. Their cards can't get at us as easy. Here we cantrip, draw the SCR, he cantrips as well, but he takes this damage, and I'm going to let you guys know right now, the game was decided at that moment right there, okay? I'm going to pause this. This 7 life is a very big issue, okay? And you will see this play out in the subsequent turns. And he kind of has like a weird, like, play line where he does something a little bit odd in this game, but it kind of makes sense for what he was trying to do. But what you have to understand is if you can avoid taking damage early, you absolutely should, because your life then acts as a padding for cards like Brawly and Gohan, and you will understand that this damage right here is actually very significant because of how I'm going to be able to put on pressure here in a little bit. So you know, I'm not saying the game is over by this point. And if I stated that previously, I just need to kind of like walk it back a little bit. But this is actually a pretty significant thing. Now, he's gonna cantrip all day long here and protect himself from that damage. But you know, he's opened the absolute bonkers. I mean, this is insane. If you ever get this curve line with that many cantrips going second, I mean, you're just feeling really good. I'm not gonna lie, if I go second and I had all those cantrips in my hand, I want to do that all day long. So on my search, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I got Destructive Strength off the top. I had the ability to get another cantrip, but I chose not to, so I had a free charge going into 3, and then we auto-charged the Destructive Strength, and then played Destructive Strength this turn, so now we're at 4 with 1 open, and we have a Gigantic Meteor. Not that we're going to need that. So since I don't have a cantrip here, we're just going to take damage. No point in fending cards out of hand. The cantrips have already been played and got their value. So he starts defending his life like he should. That was absolutely correct. It was just incorrect for him to do it and take that 15k swing when he already had the Gohan on the board, okay? Now, I'm forced to in this position, but the issue is now this card, right? So I've drawn Turles, and even if it wasn't Turles, it would be this card. And this Turles is about to put him in a weird position, and I'll just tell you what you should do. You should block this with all 3 of these and then a 5k out of your hand, okay? If you can avoid it, you're going to want to not take the critical here, and here's why. These cards are not serving any purpose, okay? So just to like pause and reiterate, to take this damage here when you have 3 5Ks just chilling, it's only going to take you 1 more 5K out of hand, which I know he has because he searched it off of this card. Here, I'll reveal his hand. I'll show you where it is. Right here. Okay, so I watched him search that. Again, I didn't even, it's not because I played the game, I just knew that he had searched it. Okay, no point at all in taking this crit swing. Just use these three and the 1/5K from your hand. The card that's cost from your hand, I'm going to give you back when I swing into your leader. And it's far better than taking this critical, which this is mistake number 2. He just does. Right? If that was me in this position, I'm taking all those, putting them on, and I'm not taking critical. Because now not only am I down in life compared to my opponent, and I'm having to deal with these swings. Now, he properly blocks this. He just took the highest damage that he could, but that's a card not in his hand, whereas I just got another card in my hand. And now he's stopped that damage from going through. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. He basically would have netted the same and been down a life where he got the card instead of it getting critted out of his life. So definitely something to avoid. Now, again, we're not looking to spend cards out of our hand. We could have spent the 5 here, right? And not taken the damage. But again, that's a free charge target because it's our second copy of it in our hand. Now, what he does here, which is super interesting, he activates Destructive Strength and then Big Bang Attack. So basically, the energy generated from the Destructive Strength was then sacked for the Big Bang Attack, which makes sense, keeps his curve up. But it would have been better if he had just tried to maybe play the 5-drop there and then Big Bang instead. He was at 6 energy, so I think that would have been fine. And then he commits another cantrip and a blocker. SCR is going to come down here, going to get maximum value. We're going to discard the Turles, popping all these cantrips. Again, so let me tell you why this was, again, like why this is huge, okay? So those 3 cantrips that could have just protected that critical and had value now no longer have value, right? And yeah, he protected his life from this, but he took the critical damage. So he would have had another card in his hand. Now all of his cantrips are missing, so it's going to cost him either a card out of the hand or he's going to take this damage. I've established a 50k. He didn't ramp last turn, which means he's not going to 8, so he cannot kill this Gohan, which is going to be massive for this. And these are where the micro decisions in the early game seal the game, right? Those micro decisions he just made over the last 2 turns or 3 turns ago have now accumulated into an overwhelming advantage for me. Now, you may be able to say, well, hey, Marcus, you didn't do too bad there, right? Cantripping into the blocker may not have been a bad play. You just happen to have the Gohan, and it is what it is. But, like, the point is that he made a bad decision to not block the life when he could have, block the attack when he could have. So he had a cantrip on the board that didn't get value. And then 2 turns later, he had 3 cantrips, plus another cantrip that he had searched in his hand that could have blocked a critical, and then again, the swing at his life would have given him the card back if he really wanted it. So in that trade, it's good. Block the crit, then take the actual damage, and the next turn he removes the crit anyway on the same play line. But then this Gohan coming down for 7 would have popped that piddly blocker only, would not have nearly been as strong. So it just, now him taking that crit damage is coming punished full circle by not using any of those cards. And it is those micro advantages that will be the difference between a good player and a bad player, and will eventually end up, you know, deciding games in tournament. So take notes of these things. Like, it's really, really important. I can't stress that enough. And now this is a terrible spot, okay? Number 1, I am not even close to being awakened, okay? I've got 6 life still. He has to attack me twice. I have to let that through, and I have 2 super combos, so if I don't want to take this life here, I'm not going to. Now I am. I'm going to take any damage it gives me. But realize that I'm at 7 energy, which means next turn I'm playing the 8-drop with this 7, with the SCR 50k staring at him, okay? He's about to get absolutely beat down in this position. The other thing that is really bad about this, okay? I'm going to pause one more time as I play the 8-drop, okay? So the reason this is actually a super terrible position is, 1, even if he gets to play the 8-drop next turn, which he will be able to, He has a horrible decision to make between popping the Gohan and the Brawly, and he makes the wrong decision. The correct decision is to pop the Gohan. Okay? I understand this card attacks twice. This card is still the bigger problem based on what's going to be going on this turn, and you'll see. And we're going to let it just play out here for a bit. So I pop his 5-drop, swing at his leader, draw a card, and now we're just sitting absolutely beautifully, okay? He's now forced to combo out. He uses a 10K, which is exactly what we want to see. And then it's now 45, 45, 50. He's going to awaken, which is going to make him take another life on top of it once we get him to 4. And he's going to take this, go to 4. And then he does block properly here. He waits to use his awaken and then I think a meteor here to get out of this. You could combo here, 5K, use one of the 5-drops in your hand as an asset to force him to combo beyond the gigantic meteor. But it's fine that you just rip the gigantic meteor out of his hand. He has the energy to do it. And so comboing more just really doesn't do you anything. As long as you take the 25K combo out of his hand, you feel fine because defensively later in the game, he's not going to be nearly as strong. Same thing here. Now we're swinging 50K. We're saying gigantic meteor combo or bust. He has the energy to do it, but chooses not to. Not sure if he doesn't have it. We'll actually pause. We'll take a look-see. If he does have it, he should have. And he does not. He just has the 8-drop and everything else. It's multiple super combos and then a 10K. But I agreed to not spend 3 cards out of your hand. If he would have had to do that, then it would have been really bad. So he plays his 8-drop and then he pops my 8-drop. So the reason it is wrong to pop the 8-drop in this situation is because he cannot go at life. He has to go at a battle card. And the fact that the Gohan is 5K higher and I'm on the defensive matters a lot, okay? So whatever he invests into this, I just have to match it. I never have to go over. Whereas if he were to do this against the Brawly, it would have costed me far more cards in hand to be able to, if he popped the Gohan, gone at the Brawly, it would have cost me far more cards. Furthermore, while the Brawly can attack twice at him, all I need to deal is 2 damage. And this card right here, if he had 3 life, definitely you prop the Brawly. But because he has 2, the only 2 cards I need to deal damage are A and B. A and B. Now, in this state, you don't want to awaken me. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But you are forced to try to attack over this thing and invest a lot of cards. And I'm already 5K higher. And you're going to see exactly what happens here. So he swings. And then he drops 10K combo twice. And so 1 super combo gets over it because I'm 5K over him. Okay? Whereas it would have costed me a super combo and then a 5-drop. You see what I'm saying? And then again, now he's going to go 10, 10, and 5. And then again, I just go 10 and 5 match. And we're sitting pretty. Now, so check this out. I will, this 50K swing here. He sacks, I'm sorry, not this 50K swing, but he sacks a energy to draw a card, go to 30, and then hits me to 4. I awaken. Now, I am forced in this position to probably go for game, and I swing 50 at him, and so 20, 40, 60, 85, 90 is what he can get to. So we'll see what I go to here. I don't exactly remember. So I swing, I activate Gigantic Meteor, boost him to 75, and then I think I drop a 5K and go to 80. Now, doing the math on this, it would have cost him everything in hand, basically, so the 3 super combos. And then if he blocks this, right, and doesn't take this damage, I'm immediately taking all of my attack at this Brawly, okay? And I'm basically gonna Gigantic Meteor over it, and then essentially play defense, which I will be able to do. All depended that he did or did not take that attack. So he was in a really weird position. He basically would have had to hand dump basically the 3 super combos just to get out of that one Gohan swing. So I don't particularly blame him for not, because it feels really bad to do. But now he just dies to this hand dump completely. The card that he got out of his life, unfortunately, was Big Bang Attack, and the other card that he had in his hand was Brawly. And if he did have a Gigantic Meteor here, he would have been actually really fine, and I actually probably would have lost the game. He is fainting it up, but the reality is that I don't have a way to remove this. I basically am forced to go for game, and I do have a lot of combo power here with the double Gigantic Meteor, the Cell's Kamehameha, the 1 super combo, and then the Gohan. So I think I get myself up to 110,000 is what I want to say it is. 110 here. And he can only get to 85. So 45, 55, 65, 85, 90. And it would have taken a one gigantic meteor here, and he didn't have it. And then we end up winning the game off of this. So, so just to reiterate, like, the 100%. There are lots of things that occurred in this game that just are the complete difference maker in the end. The way he used his cantrips, okay? That, in the beginning, completely translated to the late game. There was 2 damages that he didn't take that he would have been in a much better position had he not taken them, especially the crit one. If that crit was any combo, it could have helped, especially on this final swing, and maybe I wouldn't have been in as good of a position to push. By not comboing out of the crit swing, he gave my Gohan far too much value in popping all those cantrips, and getting that 50k and my Brawly established was just way too much pressure at 5 life when he hadn't been awakened yet, which is just insane. Furthermore, the late game, it feels bad to do, but he almost could not have taken that Gohan swing. If he hadn't taken that Gohan swing, I would have basically had to play defense and pray to God that he didn't have another A-drop in hand, which he did. So in that situation, he needs to just completely and utterly bank that, like, I don't just, like, play a card, swing at him, and then, like, maybe he does lose there if he all-ins and then I play the 5-drop and then I Meteor on the 5-drop and then I Meteor on my leader. Maybe he still does lose there, but it's all kind of a feels bad in the end. It all is kind of feels bad. He did get a little bit unlucky, but I also realized that when I ripped the Meteor out of his hand on the previous turn, so if you didn't know, he Gigantic Meteored out of one of my Brawly swings, but he didn't do it again when he had an energy up, which means that he didn't have any in his hand. So that also made it a little bit more safe. Even though he did draw a card and then he drew another card with his leader, it still made it a little bit more safe. We also would have been able to take another one of our energy down here and gotten another energy to draw another card to defend against the double A-drop play, which we definitely would have been able to do with 2 meteors in hand, a super combo, and something else. He was not killing us on the next turn with just 5k combo in hand. And yeah, I definitely felt in a relatively good position between the Cells, Kamehameha, whatever we draw off the leader, the Gohan and whatnot. I felt pretty good. I even drew... yeah, drawing the Gohan there was actually, like, pretty clutch if I could have been able to use it as a 35k crackback swing if I had survived that. But we would have been basically forced to play defense and done things a lot differently. I also would not have played the 5-drop first to ramp. I would have swung with the leader, got the Gohan awakened, and then played the Gohan instead of the 5-drop because it would have been in my hand. That's basically how he would have played that a little bit differently. So he was really in a world of trouble. At 4 life, even with these double swings, with all the cards that we have in hand, at 11 energy, the Gohan 5-drop basically would have been 10. So I would have 4 open for double Meteor. Yeah, he pops my Gohan and swings all at face, but I have 35 going at him to drain, another 30 on top of it. He has to attack at least one time into the Gohan and then force me to top deck. And if he takes any of those damages and I like have any good amount of combo on the crackback follow-up after the double 8-drop, he loses. So just to explain away any naysayers of saying, well, you kind of played it wrong at the end, you're lucky you didn't have a Meteor. Well, I kind of called it out when he didn't block the second one. But yeah, it could have been punished, and that's because he was 2 cards deeper than normal. But it was these two, the Brawly and the Big Bang Attack. So unfortunate for him that he didn't get it, but also at the same time, our play was pretty sound. 110's a lot to call out, and the triple super combo was nuts. So kudos to him. It was a good game, but those small minor differences in the early game completely translated to the end game. And just the loss of life. Like, remember, he took a 15k swing when he didn't have to. Then he took a 30k swing crit when he could have got the card instead of taking that damage. And then his blocker and all of his cantrips just died. And then the final mistake technically was not comboing out of the 50k, because it would have immediately put me on the back foot to not go all in, right? Maybe if I play the 25k and try to call him out, but I don't feel like I would have been comfortable with that. I basically would have directed all my aggression now at the other 8-drop and then forced him to like counter out with what was left in his hand, which was nothing. It was a 8-drop and then this Big Bang Attack or this 5k or whatever it was. And he wouldn't have, there was a 5k. There would have been another 5k because I think he just got this off last life. So yeah, he would have been able to even do 1 Meteor plus a 10k, would have killed this 8-drop, and then I would have played the 6-drop and then passed with 1 Meteor, a super combo, and some extra life and something else. So we probably win the game right there on the spot. But yeah. But that's how you play against Brawly in the mirror. And in green in general, if you can cantrip and block the attacks, because the philosophy is that Brawly's late game is so powerful, being a 25k. Like, Gohan can't even naturally swing at him to pressure a card. He has to sack an energy or combo a card to do it. And that late game is so powerful that if we can get to our bombs that are constantly clearing their board and simultaneously putting a lot of pressure on them, and then they have to either focus on those bombs themselves over our life, and then we can transition into Awakening and just get into a much more stable position. When we awaken, like, it's bad news. It's just really bad news. And we saw a really good curve there. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Look forward to more content, and I hope you enjoyed this one and that you guys gained a little bit of insight on how to play the matchup. And good luck in your games and ranked, and I will see you guys next time. This is Marcus and TCG Discussions, signing off. Laters.